week 3 on the Get Fast program. So this young fella that started on the program at 8.1 meters per second. After the first week, the speed had actually decreased, like I mentioned on the last vlog. It decreased to 7.7 meters per second. Now on the third week we've had an increase, and the increase is up now 8.25 meters per second. So I've worked that out. I'm not sure if this is right or wrong, but I worked it out there. Now that is an increase of 1.6%. So just a quick change from the last time. We didn't do the runs in the morning, so we have more fuel in the body, and now he's seen a bit of an increase on it. So the next on that last appointment now, I corrected some weaknesses on his core, and I corrected some weaknesses on his ankle. So on the ankle there, I'm just going to give a bit of an explanation on the ankle. So I have a video on this, and I will try and post it in the description below. So on the ankle is surrounded by ligaments, soft tissue, and muscles. They are all soft tissue, but there is a hierarchy in the NKT world where the ligaments are generally a more higher priority than the muscles. So when it comes to testing the dysfunction at an ankle or weakness at an ankle, I'll generally always just start on the ligaments. So the way we would test that is through an indicator muscle, or similar to kinesiology testing. So we'll figure out which ligaments at the ankle are dysfunctional, which ligaments are weak, and which ligaments are compensating for those weaknesses, kind of pair them off and then match them up then to some muscle weakness then higher up the chain. So generally you'll have a few weaknesses in the calf area or in the shin area, then you'll have a few weaknesses then sometimes up at the hip. So for this man now, I was able to test to figure out which was the main ligament that was weak at the ankle. There's a famous saying in the industry, and the saying is, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So I found the main weakness in the in one of the ligaments at the ankle. It was a medial retinaculum, compensating for the lateral retinaculum. And then when I tested higher up the chain, it was causing a problem then in the function in the gracilis muscle, which is a strong adductor, and it was also causing a problem in the TFL, which is a strong abductor. So corrected those. Now I also corrected then a weakness in his transverse abdominals in the core, and I also corrected a weakness in the rectus abdominals in the core. One was he was compensating in the back for his TVA, and he was compensating in the diaphragm for his rec abs. So basically what we're doing is finding the weaknesses in his body, find out where his body is compensating for those weaknesses, getting them working better, and when they work better or work more efficiently, then he should run quicker. Each time that I find those, he will get a week's program to do. So releasing out some muscles, activating up some muscles. One very important thing on this is when we're trying to activate up a muscle, there's so many different aspects of this, it's so hard to describe. So I'm just going to try and explain a few of them on each of these videos. So when you're activating a muscle that is weak, the first port of call is to try and find where that person's body is compensating for that weakness. So if their nervous system is over contracting to their back to engage the back muscles more because their core muscle is weak, or one muscle within the core is weak, then we have to teach the body then to stop working in that fashion, or stop contracting or sending the neural drive to those muscles in that fashion. So for example, we reduce the tension in the back, teach the body to start activating the core muscle. Reduce the tension in the back, start teaching the body to start activating the core muscle. Obviously then different core muscles work in different fashions. Like for example, the rec abs won't do too much rotation, it'll be more of the oblique muscles, so you'll be getting an exercise that kind of ties in with rotation if you're giving an oblique exercise. But the key then to activating a weak muscle after you've released the compensator is to give an easy exercise that doesn't overburden the body. So for example, if I want to get someone's rec abs working better, which is the six-pack muscles, I won't send them home and give them weighted sit-ups to do. Like, let's do 50 sit-ups now and hold a 20 kilo dumbbell. and or a 20 kilo plate, and each contraction that you make, that you need to hold that weight there. In reality, that is probably a good strengthening exercise for the rec abs, but if this is a muscle that isn't engaging, that isn't activating well, the worst thing you can do is overburden it with a very strong exercise. That is one area that I think is weak, where we think that is weak in terms of giving people a rehab, that we're not very good at selecting the right exercise. Like, for example, just because we think it's weak, we give them a strengthening exercise that should strengthen them up. But if their body is finding it hard to activate and contract that muscle in the first place, what do you think is going to happen when you give it a very strenuous exercise with weights to do? Basically what will happen is the body will just start programming and start over contracting the area that it was compensating anyway. So we'll call that you're strengthening the imbalance that was already there. So to unwind the imbalance, you have to, in terms of one of these imbalances, relax the back, activate the core nice and light. Relax the back, activate the core nice and light, and you can gradually build up the exercise then on the core. Then down the line, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after this has been hit each day, a couple times a day, then you can start adding stronger exercise on the core. But giving it too much too soon is generally what they call in the NKT world going over the top on the neural drive, or going over their neural edge. If you go over the neural edge, the body then just starts compensating somewhere else. One very, very common way that people will compensate for their core, like in a gym class, you'll see people in a gym class when it comes to core putting their hands underneath their bum. When you put your hand then your hands underneath your bum, it extends the spine, so it gets the back extensors to start contracting. Then rather than doing the core exercise, your back is helping you out. Where it should be, if you have to put your hands underneath your bum, they get your core, or to make it easier to do the core exercises, then generally the core exercises are too much too soon. You need to regress the exercise. So this man anyway is coming in, this young fella is coming back in tomorrow. He's texted me saying that he has a bit of a groin or quad strain, which isn't perfect, but generally I find anyway, if I pick up on it, if we get an injury and correct it pretty quick, rather than having weeks and weeks for the body to compensate, then it should go away pretty quickly. So I'll see him tomorrow. I'll test up his rehab, or test up the program that I've been giving him to do this past week. Move on then the quad strain, and then move on to the rest of the weaknesses that I already know that I'm moving on to next. And then we can see if he makes some more of an increase. Problem is now he's probably not going to get much of an increase this week now because of the quad strain. But this is what happens on this, and nothing is really perfect. We can't avoid this from happening. But anyway, we'll try and get that away quick, and then I'll probably maybe add on a week or so in terms of the program. And then we can see then does he start making strides after we get the quad strain away. So just to recap on that, fixed or sorted out an imbalance at the ankle, so he's going to re-ingrain that now in the nervous system correctly now with his program this week. That ankle issue was causing problems higher up on two powerful muscles at the hip. That was bilateral. Then I sorted out two weaknesses in the core, rec abs and TVA. So we're adding those now to his arsenal, we're adding those to his body now, so once they work more efficiently, once those muscles are activating better, we should see a difference then on the speeds.